Hey guys, I got a new video for you today, and we're going to be looking at a new flashlight that I recently picked up. Now this is a flashlight that I came across on SHOT Show earlier this year. It is from Nitecore, and this is the EDC27 flashlight. Now when I first saw this, I was pretty intrigued by it. I was playing around with it a little bit while I was at SHOT Show, and then I noticed a couple months after the show, it was sold out everywhere. Obviously a lot of people were picking it up, wanting to get it in. So I saw that it recently came back in stock, especially through Amazon. I do a lot of purchasing out of Amazon, and I had it in my cart, and I just kind of, had it there, and I would take it off and put it back on and stuff like that. And then just recently I decided to go ahead and pick it up just so I can, kind of play around with it a little bit more for myself. It's been about 2 or 3 days that I've had this, so again, not a lot of experience with it, but I've EDC'd it a couple of times. But primarily I wanted to see how it compared to some of the other flashlights that have a similar form factor in my collection. So this is not going to be a full-blown video on this light. There's a ton of videos on there that I do a lot more justice to this flashlight. It's gonna, I'll go ahead and show you guys what it looks like when you get it. That's why the package is open here. I actually repackaged everything so you can see what it looks like when it comes in. But I want to go ahead and at the end of the video kind of compare it to 2 other lights that I feel are very similar in form factor to this one. Again, this is from Nitecore, and this is the EDC27. From the box here, you can see that it has a turbo output of 3,000 lumens. So that is a lot of light coming out of this flashlight. It does say ultra slim high performance EDC flashlight, and in the bottom here it says the beginning of the EDC flashlight revolution. I don't know if that means that they're going to be expanding on this type of form factor, and if that is the case, that's really cool. It's good to see companies kind of working on making things better. So on the side here, it does tell you that it has a built-in 1,700 milliamp lithium ion battery, and a couple of the included accessories are a lanyard and a USB-C charging cable, because this is USB-C rechargeable. Again, max output is 3,000 lumens, max distance is 220 meters. And then just a little bit more information on here. You do have IP ratings, IP54 rating on there. And then in the back, it just gives you a little bit of an example of the flashlight itself and some of the different things that you do have on the flashlight there. Now, one thing that I really do like about Nitecore flashlights is that a lot of them, or not all of them, but a lot of them have this little informational window here, which gives you like the light output and battery percentage and stuff like that. I think that is really cool. So the light kind of comes nestled in this little plastic tray here, which we'll set off to the side for a second. Take a look at some of the stuff here. You do get a little cautionary note here, but it also serves as a down and dirty thing on how to unlock it and lock it, because it does come locked from the factory, so that it doesn't turn on or anything like that. It gives you a little bit of information as far as what the different buttons do and things like that. So that's pretty cool, especially if you don't want to dig too deep into the instruction manual. You do have your warranty card here. And then, as I mentioned, here is your instruction manual. I will open this up so I can reference the different outputs here. And if you guys want to pause the video, you can go ahead and take a look at that. But it does tell you that it has a couple different modes. Ultra low for 15 lumens, low for 65, mid for 200 lumens, high for 1,000 lumens, and then again the turbo is 3,000 lumens. You do get a strobe option on this guy also, which is 3,000 lumens as well. So I always recommend that you take a look at your instructions, because that way you'll know how to work your light and stuff like that. Inside the little bag here, you do have the wrist lanyard that was referenced on the side of the box, and then you have your USB-C to USB standard USB charging cable here with this little kind of Nitecore branded tie wrap right there. So that's cool. We'll set that off to the side. And then here is the light itself. Now, I know I mentioned that I played around with it while I was at SHOT Show, but I've forgotten the size of it. It feels a little bit bigger than what I remember it. It's neither here nor there. It's just, when I opened it up again, I said, oh, this is a little bit bigger than I remembered it. So the window here does have a little sticker on it. I've actually left it on this whole time so I can show you guys that it does come with that, but I will go ahead and remove it now that I'm doing the video. I'll set that off in there. And here it is. Right now, I believe it's only available in black, so that is one of those things that I did want to mention, because some of the other lights that I'll be comparing it to do have a couple of different color options. It feels very, very sturdy in the hands, which I do remember and I do really like. You do have dual LED outputs at the head of the flashlight right there. And then you have some knurling. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Some knurling on the side right here, which makes it really easy to grip onto. But again, it just depends on how you're going to be holding this, because your buttons are at the top right here. So you would normally be activating those with your thumb as you take it out of your pocket. But again, you know, you could either shine it like this, but if you do rotate your grip and you're shining it like this for a little bit of a prolonged amount of time, that knurling does come into play and you're able to go ahead and hold on to it. As I mentioned, you have your small little LED right there, then Nitecore EDC27 branding right there. And then on the back, you do have a pretty sizable clip right here, pocket clip. Now, one of the things I didn't like about it is how much of the actual flashlight does stick out from your pocket. I'm used to having like low ride clips and stuff like that on my knives and my flashlights, so I'm kind of gotten used to that. But you do have about this much, about an inch of the light itself sticking out from the pocket. And then right at the top of the clip right here, you do have the location where you will attach that wrist lanyard if you want to go ahead and do that. You do have a little bit of information in the back right here, 3.7 volts, 1,700 milliamps. Max charge current is 1.7 amp. Max discharge current is 10 amps. Don't know if that means anything to anybody, but I'll go ahead and mention it. And then in the very top right here, you do have your controls. So you do have an on and off switch right here. This is the smaller one that kind of protrudes a little bit from the top of the flashlight. And then you have a mode switch right here, which is more of a flat one. Now, with the smaller button right here, the one that protrudes, that's how you would turn the flashlight on and off. So just clicking it on once will turn it on. Clicking it on again will turn it off. And then if you go ahead and power it on, so you press it to turn it on, and then you adjust the brightness by half pressing that particular button. So it's going to cycle through the different modes. Again, your ultra low, low, medium, and high. So that's anywhere from down from 15 lumens with ultra low to 65 lumens with low, 200 lumens with mid, and 1,000 lumens with high. So in this particular flashlight, I would normally leave it in mid, which is 200 lumens. That's good enough for me for majority of EDC tasks. Again, if I did want to jump up to the next one, I can just half press it and then goes up to 1,000 lumens. And then again, that's way more light than I would normally need for most EDC tasks, but I do have that capability. But primarily, the reason that I do that is obviously to preserve battery life, because as you, let me see if you can see it here, as you cycle through the modes, you can see right there, so you saw that it said 200 lumens, it's level 3, which is 3 minutes and 49 seconds, and then if I go ahead and bump it up to 1,000 lumens is level 4, which is 1 minute and 32 seconds, and then level 1, which is 15 lumens, 36.56. So I leave it normally on level 3, which is 200 lumens, and then that way I can preserve the battery life, because this is what is going to give me enough to be able to do that. Now pressing it again will turn it off. Now that was the bigger button here, so if I go ahead and use the mode button there, if I half press it, that's going to give me the 3,000 lumens, and then again you'll get that information right at the bottom there. But as you see there, you have your little progress bar, and it's actually running down, and what that's doing is it's letting you know when that's going to bump down to. It doesn't really tell you exactly how much less it bumps down to, but again, you're only able to have that 3,000 lumen output for a minimal amount of time. So again, that's half pressing it, and then the light will come on, and then you'll see the little progress bar kind of going down. So now if you fully press the button right there, the mode button, you'll actually get your strobe. So a quick strobe warning, and then here you go. And then there is your strobe. And obviously that's going to go on for as long as you have that button pressed. And then if you want to go ahead and let go of it, that will let go of it. So I mentioned there was not going to be a full-blown review on it, because I'm not going to be taking outside and showing you beam shots or anything like that. One thing I can tell you is there's a little symbol right there that says hot, and it does get quite hot, especially if you're using that 3,000 lumens. So just keep that in mind. You also do have like in order for it to prevent it from, if it comes on or something like that, you know, for it not to burn a hole in your pants or anything like that, there's like a protection sensor, you know, if it gets too close or something like that, it's not going to come on full brightness. So if you have it like set up to the 1000 lumens or something like that, that's what it is. So now I want to go ahead and compare it to two flashlights, which I feel have a very similar form factor. The first one is this one here. This is the Streamlight Wedge. And obviously this one is more in this kind of desert tan color here. And then the other one is the Olight Arkfeld. Now this is the Arkfeld with the laser. I know recently Olight released another version of the Arkfeld, which is the one with the UV light. So again, somewhat similar in size. I think the UV one has a smaller footprint in the back here, but as far as the height and everything, they are very similar. But I wanted to kind of have them here side by side just so you guys can see a quick look at the difference between them. As far as the usage and whatnot, obviously it depends on who you are. The Arkfeld from Olight does have a proprietary charger. People like that. Some people don't like that. To me, it's neither here nor there. I usually try and keep my flashlights charged up. But it would be a lot easier if it used the same charging connection as some of my other gear, which is a USB-C port. The Streamlight and the Nitecore both use a USB-C port, or a USB-C charger, I should say. This one on the EDC27 is right up here behind this little door. On the Streamlight is at the bottom here. Now, a couple of things to note. Obviously, with the Olight here, it is a smaller form factor. It fits a little bit nicer in the hand, but it also fits a little nicer in the pocket. You do have your pocket clip here. Again, this one is not deep bright either, but you have a little bit less of the flashlight actually sticking out, versus in the Wedge here, the pocket clip is deep bright, so it goes all the way in there, which is really nice. All of these have, when you put them in the pocket, the actual what you would call the head of the flashlight is down into the pocket. So all three of these are exactly the same when you go to use it. As far as the how this functions, again, you do have the one button right here with the Olight that turns it on and off and then cycles through the modes, and then you have this little rotating switch that you can go from the flashlight to, and this one being the laser, but if you have the UV, to the UV as well. I like the fact that you can turn it on and then set the modes and then use it however you want, which is one of the drawbacks that I find on the Wedge here. So the Wedge here has a two-stage selection wheel here. If you do it the first click, you do have your regular output there, and then if you push and hold, then you get the max output of 1000 lumens, which I believe is 1000 lumens on the Wedge, but it's only as long as you hold that wheel forward. So if you let go, it actually goes back to the lower output. So in usage, I found that sometimes I had to have the light, maybe, set it down or, put it in my mouth or something like that to be able to go hands-free. And obviously I don't have the ability to, have this be completely the maximum output, the turbo output on it, because I normally I would have to have my finger there holding it. So that is one of the drawbacks of the Wedge, which I would hope that maybe in future iterations like a V2 or something like that, it'll be more of a click. So you click it and you leave it there. That way if you have to go hands-free or move it around or, have it stand up or lay it down or something like that, you're still going to get the 1000 lumen output. Again, with this one, because the high output with the EDC27 is 1000 lumens, you are able to go ahead and turn it on. So you are not going to get the full hands-free of the 3000 lumens. But again, you don't have it for that long. That's just a quick burst of light if you were to need more than that. So for the most part, all three of these lights will give you the 1000 lumen output. The main difference is the EDC27 does have that extra burst of light to 3000 lumens for a couple seconds if you really were to need that light. But again, if you need to, if it turns, or if it goes through the amount that it gives you, you can wait a second and then put it out there again, and you have it again. So again, it's one of those things that's neither here nor there, just depending on when you need it. But you're not getting that 3000 hands-free either, as I already mentioned. So again, this was just a quick look at the Nitecore EDC27, because I think it's a great EDC option, especially in this new kind of world where a lot of flashlights are are going into this form factor, which is these kind of rectangular, thin shaped as opposed to the traditional kind of rounded flashlight shapes to them. I know, like I mentioned, Olight has already moved into doing other things with the Arkfeld series, where they've now come out with the UV version as opposed to the laser version. So you do have different options. They do come in different colors, different materials and things like that. The Wedge is available in both black and this desert tan color. And then obviously the EDC27 is only available in this black color here. But they all have their own cool differences. If I had to choose, as far as for my usage, which one I would use, it's very difficult. If I'm going for space, I'm always going to, obviously, for space, size, weight, and all that, I'm going to go with the Arkfeld. I like the slimness of the Wedge, but I think it's limited in, if I have to go hands-free to be able to still use that 1000 lumen, because I do have to be holding on to it. And then I just like the fact that this has the window that lets you know exactly how much battery you have. I know the Arkfeld does have a little battery gauge right here, so if you turn it on, you'll have those LEDs, which hopefully you can see, but those LEDs that tell you, but again, it's in 25-minute increments versus this window will let you know exactly to the minute and second how long you have left on each output on the battery. So I really do like that, and I think Nitecore has done a really good job with some of their flashlights. I do have some of their other flashlights that have those windows, and it lets you know exactly how much you have, so you know, hey, you know what, let me go ahead and throw it on the charger because I'm at this particular amount of battery left. So again, very difficult. I'm glad I have all three of them in my rotation now. But if I had to choose one, I don't know if I could. Maybe the EDC27, just because it's, I like the 3000 lumen output. I'm a sucker for very high output on flashlights. I generally try and keep them in the highest output when I use them and stuff like that. So maybe with that one. But again, it's different flavors for different times, whenever you need them. So there it is. That was just a down and dirty look at the EDC27 from Nitecore, and then how it compares to the Streamlight Wedge and the Olight Arkfeld. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.